Hello everybody, Matt here, back again to show some recent vinyl purchases. It has been quite a while. It's been about, well, at least 5 months since the last one I've done here. So I've got way too much to show. All of this you see here has been purchased in the last 5 months or since I made the last video. So I'm not going to show all of those, but I wanted to make this video to show some of my favorites of the year so far from 2013 and just some of the other highlights from what I've gotten. So to get started, one from 2013, one of the earlier ones, Atoms for Peace this is, which is Tom York and 4 other members, kind of a supergroup in a way, but it's very much Tom York's project. It is quite similar to the Eraser, but a little more diverse maybe in sound and not quite as electronic as the Eraser was. But you know, I'm a huge Radiohead fan, so anything Radiohead related I'm interested in, and I do think this is quite a great album, I would say. It's certainly not Radiohead, but it's still a very good, very good album. And the next one here is, this one is from the artist named Pole. The album is R, and this was actually the last Pole album that I didn't own on vinyl. So I've been looking for this one for a long time, and this one is on a very nice blue vinyl. So that's from the Escape label. Again, that's Pole, P-O-L-E. With the album R, and that's kind of just a slow, interesting electronic music. Not quite techno, but it does have some beats to it. But he's one of my favorite artists too, is Pole, so that's R again. And here's another one from 2013. This is Lusine with The Waiting Room. And Lusine is another electronic artist. He used to make much more experimental or IDM music almost, but this one is mostly just pop music. The closest artist I could think to comparing Lusine, or this version of Lusine to, is Duomo. Sasu Ripati, I think his name is. But Lusine is someone from the Seattle area, I believe. And this is just really interesting music. It's definitely interesting that he's gone in a more pop direction with his recent albums, because he made some really great, more experimental electronic music in the earlier part of the last decade. But he's still making really quality music, and this is just another one from 2013 that really impressed me. Then we have the Fire Orchestra. This is Exit, the album is called. And this is a big band of 20 odd members or so from, I want to say Sweden. One of those northern European countries. I think it's Sweden. I could be wrong though. But this is kind of a big band group. More on the free or experimental side of jazz music, but there is a vocalist on this album who sounds really good. Miriam Wallington is her name, and she does a great job, and it's a really fantastic listen. So if you're interested in modern jazz, this is definitely recommended. Then of course, this is the new My Bloody Valentine album, MBV it's called, and I'm really glad Kevin Shields finally decided to finish this and let us hear it, because it's really good. Is it as good as Loveless? No, but barely anything is, so I wouldn't even bother trying to compare it to that, but it is definitely a progression from Loveless, a good one at that, I think, and it's definitely, I don't think it's a disappointment at all. I'm actually very, very happy with this album. I think it's a great album, so that's My Bloody Valentine. This one is a reissue of a few singles from Deep Chord. Deep Chord is one half of Echo Space, who I talk about a lot. And this is a reissue of some of their singles from the late 90s and early 2000s that are very, very limited and hard to find. I've never seen one of the original Deep Chord singles in person, but they go for often $100 or so online. And these are on colored vinyl, so this is just really minimal, dubby techno music, and it's great. The vinyl is all different colored. I think one of these is purple, this one's kind of a splattered red. A very nice collection. So this is, let me see here. Comes with a nice piece of artwork too. This is Deep Chord 7, Deep Chord 8, and Deep Chord 9. So they were remastered for this vinyl package. 3 discs here. Very, very good, very influential techno music from the earlier part of the last decade. So very happy that they decided to reissue this. This one is another reissue here. This is Yellow Swans with Going Places, the album is called. Just some really, really, I would say almost beautiful noise music. I'm not a big fan of the harsher noise like Mare's Bow. I don't listen to that too often, but this is actually similar in a way to ambient music. It's got some very pretty moments on it, and it's been out of print since it came out almost, and hard to find, so they decided to reissue it. I think this one might be colored. Let me see. Yes, this one is just a clear vinyl with a little bit of blue in there, blue streaks. So that was excellent to pick up. Really one of my favorites of the genre, actually. Yellow Swans. And this one is Uusitalo, or it might be Uusitalo. I mentioned Luomo a bit earlier in the video. This is the same person. Let me see. Vapaa Muurari, maybe it's called. You can see there. But this is 4 tracks from, I believe, 2000 that he made. And if you're familiar with Vladislav Delay and Luomo, this is somewhere in between those two. It's the closest he's done to regular techno music. It's a little more experimental than Luomo, but a little less so than Vladislav Delay, but this is a great album from him. Definitely, if you like Vladislav Delay, give this a try too. And then I also picked up the knife here. This is Shaking the Habitual. A double, or actually I think this is a triple album. Very good. Like the My Bloody Valentine, their last album, Silent Shout, is one of my favorite albums really ever made. So I don't want to compare it to their last album, but it's another one that is very good if you don't try to compare it to their last album. I will say though that a lot of these tracks are more on the ambient side, and I wasn't really too impressed with the ambient stuff here. It wasn't particularly all that interesting to me, so I definitely like the more dancey tracks here, like the first two, A Tooth for an Eye and Full of Fire. Those are the 2 singles, and I think those are probably my favorite tracks on here. And then there are several others that really make this a valuable purchase. And this is another one of the remastered Deep Chord collections. This one is DC 10, 11, and 12. Again, uncolored vinyl with some artwork. And these are just, both of those sets I showed are very expensive. They were about $60 each. So it was a bit tough to buy them, but they're definitely worth it when you consider how much the originals go for and just how much I actually like this music. I didn't have a choice, I had to get these. So that's Deep Chord, the remastered singles 10, 11, and 12. And the next one here is a reissue of Clifford Brown and Max Roach. Study in Brown, it's called. Clifford Brown was a trumpetist back in the 1950s, and Max Roach a drummer. Clifford Brown is actually probably my favorite trumpetist, and Max Roach maybe my favorite drummer. But together they made just a fantastic group for about 4 albums before Clifford Brown unfortunately died. But this is just some of my favorite jazz music from that era. It's kind of in the bebop style, but a little bit harder than most at that time. But it's a classic in my mind. So that's Study in Brown by Clifford Brown and Max Roach. And I did go to the shops on Record Store Day and found a couple things. I had a list of about 5 albums that I wanted to look for. I only found 2 of them. One of them is Destroyer, This Night, which has not been in print for a long time, so that's a welcome reissue. Destroyer is a part of the group The New Pornographers, and this is somewhat like indie folk music, but he has a great voice and he's a talented songwriter, that's for sure, and this is a great album, I think. The other one I picked up was The Roots. This is a reissue of Things Fall Apart. Some of my favorite hip hop comes from The Roots, and this is a great album. One of their better albums, I think. Definitely recommended. The next one here is another from Deep Chord. I showed those 2 other sets, but this one it's not a reissue, but it's actually just a new single from them, or him. Tonality of Night, it's called, on clear vinyl. Very nice to pick up. And I think this was issued in 2012 actually, so it's not brand new, but I didn't have it and I picked it up on the same day that I got those other 2 on Record Store Day. And this one is more of an ambient techno single here. And the last 2 here are 2 more from 2012. This one is Function. Incubation, the album is called. And this is just straightforward techno music. Not quite in the Detroit style, but more of a darker European sound to it. Even though actually this guy is from New York, I believe. But this is definitely the highlight techno album of the year so far. Definitely, if you are interested in techno, give this a listen. It's very, very good. And that's on the Ostgatan label. A very high quality techno label there. Function, once again. Function was also part of the group Sandwell District, who released a really good album a few years back. And this last one here I actually just picked up this weekend, or well, ordered it and had it sent to me, but this is the Revival Hour with Scorpio, Little Devil, it's called. And this is a duo one of the members is David Stith, I think his name is, who's toured with Sufjan Stevens. And his voice actually does somewhat resemble Sufjan Stevens' voice, and it's really nice, I think. He's working with a multi-instrumentalist here, whose name I forget right now, but this combo is just a really fantastic, modern, indie, experimental album. If I wanted to describe it, I would say it's like a combination. It's somewhere between Sufjan Stevens, Grizzly Bear, and maybe the Flaming Lips, because there definitely is some psychedelia on this album, and it's a great combination of styles here. Definitely recommended, and not very well known for some reason. It's on a tiny little label that I've never heard of. Anti-Fawn Records, but that's the Revival Hour. Scorpio, Little Devil. I did post a track from this album on my channel a little bit back, so give that a listen and pick it up if you like it. And that's it. That's all I'm going to show from the last 5 months. Hope you see something in there that looks interesting. Adios. Just a really short addendum here. I also picked up this album from Low. It's called The Invisible Way from 2013. Low is another one of my favorite bands, and this is a very excellent album from them. Produced by Jeff Tweedy from Wilco. But I think that's definitely one of their better albums. I'm very happy with this. Bye.